wrote that the couple's political activism and the monetization of their anger was causing Charles grief. Powerless over events in California, Charles knew he had good reason on his ascension to strip the Sussexes and their children of their titles. The Sussexes' status depended entirely on their royal titles. Every appearance or statement was issued under the label of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Doesn't make sense. Neither considered it odd to honor the Queen, yet damn her as a bad parent to Charles, or label her whole family as racist and neglectful of Meghan. In America, the Sussexes assumed, no one would be aware of those contradictions. Have they ever heard of the internet? We can share information with each other pretty quick. But Harry could not assume that Charles would tolerate the enmity without retribution. In the possibly brief time before the Queen died, Harry needed to cement his status. To remain in the public eye, the Sussexes organized a Lilibet website before their daughter was born. You guys, I have major issues with this. Not the website, the name. It's ghastly inappropriate and totally trashy that they would take the name Lilibet from the Queen, who they despise, from a family tradition which they disdain, and take that name and mash it up with Diana, and now their little baby girl is going to be called Lilibet Diana. It's so pathetic. It's such a screaming cry for attention. It's so dishonoring to, I mean, it's like such an intimate detail about the Queen that is nobody's business. Like what her little nickname was when she couldn't say her own name and she couldn't say Elizabeth, so she called herself Lilibet, and the family took that on, and that became her family nickname within a closed circle. This wasn't like the whole world didn't call her Lilibet, you know? This is the Queen's childhood nickname. And they hate the Queen, or else they wouldn't go around behaving this way. They wouldn't go about trashing her, calling her a bad mother, trashing the institution she has faithfully been the head of for years and has brought so much dignity and so much honor to the woman, to the role of strong female. She has done so much for women by her quiet dignity and femininity, and by the way she has strongly led a country and consistently seen the straight and narrow and walked it. She has been such a wonderful and strong and beautiful person. And it was a tragic day when she passed, because we lost one of the last people who knew how to carry themselves in that way. Now, Meghan wants to come over and snag her baby nickname for her own self and for her little daughter. I mean, as the Queen, I would have been highly dishonored by that. Just think about it. Think about the nickname that you have, like that your dad or that your mom called you as a kid. Think about that intimate little nickname. Now think about somebody who has destroyed your family, wrecked the decency in your home, wrecked what familial ties you had, destroyed your dear grandson's life, twisted his mind. Now you think about that person having a baby and taking your childhood nickname. You know, I'm not much one for pettiness. You know, I want to live and let live. You know, I really, really don't want to sweat the small stuff, and I want to just move on when things aren't a big deal. You know, it's just like, we got bigger fish to fry, right? But I would have problems with that. I would really dislike that. When I was a kid, so my middle name is Denise. The only person who ever called me this was my mom. Her nickname for me was Deniski. I don't know where that came from. She's the only person who ever called me that. That was my nickname. If my arch enemy decided to name their child Deniski, which who would do that? But say like they did, I would be mortified and so mad, because that was my mom's nickname for me. She's the only one who called me that. It was her little name for me. And if somebody decided to use that, and somebody I hated who had destroyed my family, I mean, you couldn't have set my teeth on edge any harder. Anyway, Harry didn't care. His daughter was born at Santa Barbara's Cottage Hospital on the 4th of June. On the same day, for 2 days before the birth was announced, Meghan's lawyers registered the LilibetDiana.com website. After the birth, but before the public announcement, Harry called the Queen. He told his grandmother about the birth and their decision to call their daughter Lilibet. look, in all truth, that is really kind of a cute little name, but it's just that they didn't have a right to it. And it's just too intimate and personal, especially when you're taking it from somebody that you publicly said you wanted to hate. And the thing that bothers me is it's just such a public way of being like, trying to like smooth everything over, be like, we're so good with her and the whole royal family, like, and we've just been so loving and so kind and have upheld ourselves in such a decent and honorable way that it's totally fine if we use this intimate nickname for our own. Because everything is so good with us. You know, Kate and William have a lot of problems with us just because they're problematic people anyway. But us and the Queen are totally good. To stymie the Sussexes, the palace told the BBC that the Queen was never asked for permission for the use of her name. In his telephone call, Harry was telling the Queen about the name, not saying, would you mind if? Once the BBC broadcast that report, the Sussexes' truth machine was activated. Toya Holness, Meghan's spokeswoman, claimed that Harry would not have chosen the name of the Queen had not been supportive. Fired up by the Sussexes' anger, Shillings announced that unless the BBC apologized and withdrew that report, the Sussexes would sue for defamation. Do they know how to do anything else other than hold their hand out for some money? Pitching Harry against the Queen was an extreme tactic to control the Sussexes' image. The palace supported the BBC. Faced with the factual truth, the Sussexes retreated. Shillings' threat evaporated, and the Sussexes were defeated. They're just so unlikable. We've stolen the Queen's nickname as a child. We just told her that's what it was going to be. We never asked for permission to use this private nickname. And it's like, you know, the Queen's a public person. So what private things she has about herself that she's chosen to keep as private? Or I don't know how private it was. Maybe people did know that was her nickname. I'd never heard of it, but that's not surprising. I don't know a lot of things. But it's still an intimate detail about herself. To come out and just use that without any kind of permission for somebody who's had to share so much of their life in public, Harry and Meghan, of all people, should have realized how inappropriate that was. They're the ones that are always saying, how come our private things can't stay private? Yet they want to take her nickname and use it on their baby girl. And just the fact that they would put it with Diana too, it's just sickening. It's like, you guys, you know what this move is like? This is like a person who shows up wearing every brand they've ever heard was a brand worth wearing. Right? And they're all a mixed mash of all different kinds of brands. And it's like a really pathetic display of desperation to be accepted. And that's what this feels like. We're going to give our baby daughter all of these names that we know you guys like Queen Elizabeth, and you'd even better like knowing that her little nickname was Lilibet. And so since we know the world's into that and into the Queen, and the Queen thinks she's, the world thinks the Queen's great. And, they'll love this little intimate detail about her youth. And we know you guys really like Diana. So we're going to plaster our baby girl with these names so that you all will accept her, and by that, accept us. And that's what this feels like to me. All right, we've got to move on. Legal wrangles in London could be easily forgotten in California. They so often are. But the real thing, forget whatever the legal problem in England is. There's always a problem in England. So we just have to move on and keep living our best American life. But what was really souring their lemonade was the fact that the whole royal family had descended on the G7 summit, which was hosted by the Prime Minister in Cornwall, and Kate was filmed laughing with Joe Biden. And Meghan understood then the unequal struggle for attention. Jill Biden, that's her girl. The Bidens, those are her people. Everybody in the Democratic Party are supposed to be her people. They're not allowed to go out and laugh with Kate, and Kate's not allowed to hedge in. For the British, the sight of William, Charles, and the Queen walking through a garden and alongside the world's leaders represented the monarchy's enduring strength, and William and Kate represented its future. The Windsors felt reassured by the international accolades, but the Sussexes plotted their counterattack. This is just so pitiful and pathetic. Can you even conceive of living your life day to day based on what somebody else is doing? You put your head down and get to work. Go do things you want to do. Go live a life you want to live. Go and enjoy life. Enjoy your children. Enjoy your job. Enjoy each other. Enjoy your church. Enjoy something. But what in the world is this? What are they doing now? Oh, okay, this is going to be my counterattack. Go live the peaceful life you ran away to. Why are you all the way over here with your telescope watching what they're doing? You said you didn't want them. This is like somebody who breaks up with somebody and then constantly stalks them on social media so they can be re-mad and, nurse old wounds and continue to rip off the scabs of the breakup. That's exactly what this is like. And it's like, why are you still paying attention to that guy? I thought you said you didn't like him. I thought that's why you broke up with him. And that's exactly how Meghan is doing with Kate. She hated Kate. She says Kate made her cry, but she's going to keep watching Kate. She's going to keep seeing what Kate has, and she's going to keep comparing herself to Kate. Okay, so they decide they're going to go on their counterattack. All their future public appearances were carefully scheduled and inserted into a grid, building up to a climax later that year in New York. Their own royal event was planned to consolidate their status in America. In their timetable, the unveiling of a bronze memorial in Diana in Kensington Palace's sunken garden on her 60th birthday became a sideshow for Harry. So here they were going to they're going to unveil this statue, and it was supposed to be about Diana, but no, Harry wants to show up and it has to be all about him, because after all, he loved his mother the most, and that's why he's the most sad about it. You know, William's been able to move on, but William's only been able to move on because he didn't love her as much. That's sort of what you're supposed to get from all that. In the bitterness sparked by the Sussexes, only the Spencer family were present alongside the brothers. Everyone else, including Diana's grandchildren, stayed away. Meghan's absence passed without comment, except in those parts of America where Diana was revered. Standing in front of an uninspiring depiction of Diana, William and Harry defied speculation. The ceremony would not trigger a reconciliation. William's reluctance to attend the ceremony was well known. By then, he knew it was pointless to appease the Sussexes. Harry's destiny was built on undermining the Windsors. Harry's reinvention required a clean break, retribution, and possible reconciliation on the Sussexes' terms. The only blip was the risk of the truth emerging. And oh God, don't I just wish it would. I just wish that we could get a full look at the dossier that included all the information about the bullying accusations, and I don't know why we don't have it yet.